All right. So, Eagles lose 20-14 to the New York Jets, and I don't know where to start with this one at all. No idea where to start. Pretty pissed off, to say the least. The thing that's helping me is that this team's 5-1. The thing that scares me is that they play a lot tougher teams coming up. The fact that the offense looked very, very spotty, which has been a theme this season, but hey, you know what? They were decent in the red zone today, right? I can't even hang my hat on that in this game. Way, way, way too many mistakes. You lose Lane Johnson in this game. Hopefully he's not out for a long period of time, because if the offensive line is going to look that bad with Lane Johnson out, it's going to be a pretty rough season. It's going to be a pretty rough season ahead. If Lane Johnson, especially if he's going to make that big of an impact, because everyone's saying the Lane Johnson injury really affected this game. I agree to an extent. Obviously, losing your your best offensive lineman hurts the team, and Hurts did look uncomfortable, but the problem is I cannot simply defend or make that excuse when Jalen Hurts is throwing picks, when guys are not holding on to the ball, when Hurts is not reading the field properly at times, when the play calling is garbage at times. And then you have the defense, where the defense was fine. There were times where it concerned me because I felt like the secondary was a little shaky. I thought they stepped it up, though, as the game went along. I thought the defensive front really missed Jalen Carter, but they still stepped up. They still stepped up later on in this game. Sweat was looking good at parts of the game. You had Milton Williams, who stepped in, making plays. Jordan Davis making plays. And you had guys there on the defense making plays. Hassan Reddick potentially making game-stopping plays and didn't end up saving them. But regardless, you had guys on the defense making big plays. The only thing that sucked is that there were way too many times where it felt like they didn't tighten up defensively until they were in the Jets were in the red zone. And I don't know if that's because the Jets are just a bad team in the red zone, or if the fact that the Eagles are just bad at defense unless a team is in the red zone, which I'm going to go with maybe a combination of both there, because of the fact that it feels like that's been a thing most of the season, where the Eagles defense has just not stepped up and made big plays until their opponents in the red zone. And I don't know. I'm just pissed off because the Eagles should have got annihilated this game. They should have. Zach Wilson did not look confident. He looked lost out there most of the game. And if the Jets have a better quarterback, they probably end up winning this game by more. But you could also argue, okay, if the Eagles don't turn the ball over, they win this game by a lot. It's just, I just simply cannot defend the whole argument that Lane Johnson being hurt made the ship sink for the entirety of this game, because there was just way too many mental mistakes with this team. Way too many. The first drive for the Jets, the Eagles held them well. Job took a brutal holding penalty, so that got a first down, but he made up for it with some good coverage on Garrett Wilson. Then the Eagles have a huge offensive drive. They end up scoring on it. It got reviewed, but they ended up scoring on it, and that made it 7-0. As this was the drive, though, where Lane Johnson got hurt, and you knew it was going to be a long day when you were just seeing more guys getting exposed on the right side of that offensive line. You just knew it was going to be a long night for the Eagles, and yeah, just embarrassing. But Hurts ends up being in. The Jet fans do not like the call. Sorry, I'm just trying to check something on Twitter as I'm doing this. But regardless, yeah, I can't focus on this and look things up at the same time. I'm sorry, guys. But regardless, yeah, Jet fans weren't happy about it, but it ends up being ruled a touchdown. 7-0. So yeah, huge drive. Ends up killing most of the clock too, like we've seen happen the past few weeks, where the Eagles, it's just pretty much one drive each team in the first quarter. But huge drive there for the Eagles. End up converting there. Where we would have had questions, though, if that didn't end up being overturned there. We would have had serious questions about this team in the red zone. But the second drive there for the Jets, too many first downs. Thankfully, though, they end up holding the Jets to only a field goal. Like I said, just not good enough play. Then you had the offense starting to look good on their third drive, that is. Hurts to Swift. He bobbled it, recovered it, got and gets a touchdown on that one. So that made it 14-3, but then you just have way too many mistakes. Way too many. Especially in that second half. Hurts missed Goddard so many times. The amount of times I'm yelling at my TV to throw, that's the thing that annoyed me. The amount of times the Eagles threw checkdowns during this game, and then anytime they had an opportunity to throw a checkdown right to Dallas Goedert, nope. Then he did it late in the game, Hurts, and ended up being an incomplete pass. Why not? Why wouldn't it be? But you had turnovers. Swift ended up fumbling the football at one point. Who else was it that... it was Quinnen Williams, I think, that got that interception there as well. And then Hurts throwing that interception at the end was just the game. It was the game. Elliott missing that field goal definitely hurt as well, because things could have went differently potentially for the end of that game there. But yeah, I mean, because yeah, I'm lost right now. I'm lost. I'm just so pissed off that I can't even know. I don't even know how to put this in the words. But that drive probably goes differently if Jake Elliott makes that field goal. Drive goes differently if Elliott makes that field goal, because the Eagles probably aren't going as run heavy. They're probably running the football, which, by the way, why did they not use DeAndre Swift enough? For the life of me, I cannot understand. They had no creativity with the offense in this game. None at all. Barely running the football. When they did, it was Jalen Hurts using his legs, or it was just the halfback dive. Then you had basic screen and check downs, and then pretty much nothing else offensively. You had a couple deep balls along the sidelines, which Hurts kind of got bailed out by his receivers on a couple of them. Except for that A.J. Brown one, I thought that one of them was very good, just a dime right there. I'm not acting like Jalen Hurts had the worst game. He definitely wasn't sharp. But he did have a couple of dimes in the game, but just not enough. Just simply not enough. And it sucks because the defense made big plays at the end, especially that defensive front. The sack by Sweat. Reddick and Williams with back-to-back big stops, forcing a punt. But the Eagles both shot themselves in the foot, and they also... The Jets' defense was also good. It was just simply good in that game. But at the same time, way too many things, way too many concerns on the Eagles' side of things in this game. And if Lane Johnson misses an extended period of time, we got a problem. We have a problem. And who's even upcoming on the schedule? Who's next on the schedule, I should say, because I know they have the gauntlet coming up very soon. And let's take a look. And oh yeah, great. The Dolphins with no help in the secondary. Did I mention Darius Slay didn't play this game? Carter potentially hurt. That's going to be fun. The Dolphins offense is going to have a field day. Then you have potentially no Lane Johnson. Dolphins defense isn't great, but then they play Washington, and then it's the gauntlet where they play Dallas, KC, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas. And even Seattle's like a decent team. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned. I tried to be positive last week when they beat the Rams. Being like, oh, they're finding different ways to win. And they actually looked creative at points in that game against the Rams, too. But now, this game really... I shouldn't be that type of guy to take too much stock in the one game. But this game really, really concerns me as they go to Miami, because the offense has really not been good enough. And they're going to need to be big in Miami, especially with that offense that Miami has, and especially if the secondary is still not going to have enough guys, which Blankenship got hurt in this game too. If Blankenship and Slay don't play next game, I'm gonna cry. I love MetLife. I love injuries. I'm not gonna fault MetLife for all the injuries, but especially the Blankenship one, I can't fault MetLife for that one at all. But oh my God, this is gonna be something else. It's gonna be something else. Sunday night game next week against Miami. This one's gonna be a shorter one. I don't have much else to say. I'm too livid. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Gonna be fascinating to see how they turn the page on this one, but I'm definitely worried. Definitely worried. Maybe you guys in the comments could help soothe me and feel better about this, but I just simply don't know how to feel even decent about this situation here. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Birds.